Hey girls, hi, good evening. Can you hear me? Can you please just maybe unmute yourself or put it in the chat if you guys can hear me? Aishwarya, Nyaneshwari, Shravani, can somebody of you please just acknowledge if you guys can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. What about others? You can put it in the chat box, guys. This is supposed to be an interactive session. Okay, Shravani, Aishwarya is there, there's Prajakta, Nirmita. Okay, good evening, guys. How are you doing? How is the day going so far? The day isn't that good? Mm, there are still people to join. Okay. So till then the others join, let's just try to discuss the homework given in the previous class. So if you guys don't answer like this, I'll pick up randomly. Okay. So let's start off with Aishwarya. I want you to tell me what was the homework given in the previous session. Aishwarya, what was the homework given in the previous session? I hope you're typing it out in the chat. And even Jnaneshwari, I want both of you to answer what was the homework given in the previous session. Don't tell me nobody remembers what was the homework given. Shravani, Prajakta, anybody, you guys, anybody of you remembers what was the remember what was the homework given in the previous session? And maybe if you have done Snehal just joined. Snehal, can you hear me? Oh, I couldn't hear you, my dear. If possible, you can just put it in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, almost Snehal. Cool. So, guys, I guess I asked Aishwarya one problem that we faced. It's about an invention. Okay. One problem that we faced in daily life, like personal commitments and that, yeah. So, the project given was we all face an issue in daily life that is managing our schedule, prioritizing things. We struggle a lot in them. So, if you are facing this issue, I am pretty sure everyone is facing. So, what invention would you make was the homework given in the previous session. So, any of you think about an invention or maybe tried? Because I didn't see a submission in the Discord channel from, I guess, any of you guys. Yeah. No submission was made from any of you. So anyone might have thought about it. Just a yes or no would do, guys. Even if you say no, that's fine. So I would know that no, you haven't thought about it, and we can proceed. Simply just staying there and not letting me know an answer to the question would simply be, reducing the time that we have. So any of you have thought about an invention, a yes or no? We have six people. I need six answers in the chat quickly. Have you thought about an invention that will solve this problem? Prajakta, Aishwarya, Shravani, Jnaneshwari, both the Snehals. I want a yes or a no. Have you thought about it? Okay, good. What about others? Like this lets me know, no, that okay, we do not have an idea to discuss, so we can proceed. No, Prajakta as well. Aishwarya. What about Jnaneshwari and who else is left? I guess Snehal. One more Snehal. Okay, cool. So what I want you to do is, I think you might have academic, pressure going on, and I do understand that. So think about it and do let me know your opinions. You can put it on your Discord channels, okay? So let's start off with the session. I'll just share my screen with you guys. Do let me know if you can see my screen. Just a second. Hold on. Is my screen visible to everyone? A yes or no would do. Is my screen visible? Yeah. All right. Cool. So, as mentioned in the previous session, we were talking about introduction to AI. We learned about the different applications of AI, right? So, can somebody quickly just try and summarize for me what is AI just in few words? What exactly do you understand by artificial intelligence that we learned in the previous session? Anyone, in your own words, we do not want any bookish definitions. So, what was artificial intelligence? You guys gave me so many answers in the previous session. So, what is artificial intelligence? Quickly, guys, come on, this shouldn't take this much time. What is artificial intelligence?
It is the intelligence displayed by the machines.
Yeah, as simple as that. It is the intelligence displayed by the machines. You train the machines to display intelligence. So, let's start off with one single application of artificial intelligence that we have seen in like real life. If you remember, guys, in the previous session, Hamza ma'am was talking about how manhole activity was covered by AI. I hope you guys remember. So today, let's have an application of AI in radiology. We have heard of healthcare a lot, right? AI being helpful in healthcare. So lung cancer is one of the most common types of cancer, not only in India but like literally worldwide, and it is a leading cause of cancer-related deaths all over the world. So we brought in AI, like according to World Health Organization, if you see the stats, what happens is the lung cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in the world, accounting for almost 12% of all the cancer cases, almost 12. So you can just think how dangerous it is. In 2020, a survey was made and it was estimated that there were 2.2 million new cases of lung cancer worldwide and around 1.8 million deaths from the disease, that is lung cancer. So there was an urgent need, to bring in something, some invention that would actually help the cure of lung cancer. So that is when they thought of that why not use AI in curing lung cancer? Why not use AI in the health sector if possible? So that is when we came up with the use of AI in radiology to detect something called as lung cancer. So this AI algorithm, the one that is used in lung cancer, it can analyze the CT scan images and it can flag any suspicious nodules so that they can be further reviewed by a radiologist. So if it is recognized at a particular point, so that it doesn't get carry on forward, and if it is stopped at a particular point, that is when we can save the patients, right? So this can help radiologists detect lung cancer at an early stage when it is actually curable, treatable, and reduce the rate of false negatives or false positive. Basically, reduce the rate of people dying due to lung cancer. So there was actually a deep learning model created. They have named it as Cybele. Like in the previous session, how we had a robot Bandicoot, an actual robot that was cleaning up the manholes. So over here we have a Cybele deep learning model. So Cybele deep learning cancer risk model, that is an AI based model, an AI based system that uses deep learning algorithms to analyze images and the patient data, analyze all the X-rays, mammography images, and the patient data. His past history, whatever has been in terms of medical databases, and then it predicts the risk of developing breast cancer in women. Cybele was like eventually used at the start to develop breast cancer in women. Now it has, like, they have started using it for detecting lung cancer also. So they started off with using Cybele for one thing, but now they have upgraded and now they are actually trying to use it for detecting lung cancer. So in the previous year, Cybele accurately identified almost 86% of lung cancer cases or healthy lungs, within a year, based on some data set that they had occupied from the patients. And that data set is called as CGMH. Today we'll have a look at some databases also. That is one way that you can use AI in healthcare. Like in the previous session, we had discussed how AI can be used in healthcare. You guys gave me so many examples. So this is just one real life example, one real life major example wherein AI can be used in healthcare for detecting lung cancer. All right. I hope that one story was able to tell you how powerful AI is and how it can affect your healthcare center with a positive phenomena. So let's start off. The topic for today's discussion is Introduction to Machine Learning and its type. Now, just before we start, as we all know, we have a Discord channel wherein we all are a part of. I hope everybody present over here is a part of a Discord channel. Anybody over here who is not a part of the Discord channel still? If anybody is not a part, can you please put it on the chat so that I will be just sharing the link with you so that you can actually go ahead and join. Everyone is there? Yes, guys, everyone is there in the chat. Okay. Yes, okay. All right. So just in case if anybody is not there, we'll be sharing the link at the end also so that you can have a look. Now, also, someone was asking, like, if let's say you are missing the session, okay, and or maybe you joined late. So the recording of every particular session is available on YouTube. So please make sure that you have the YouTube page with you. I mean, the YouTube subscribed with you so that every single video or every single session that is taken is available with you. All right. So you're sending the link of it. If you guys haven't subscribe to the YouTube channel yet, just do it so that every new session that we upload over here is available to you. All right. Now, the topic actually I was supposed to discuss at the start was the homework, that is your invention to prioritize things. The few members present at the early part of the session today said that they haven't really thought about it. What about Navya, Komal, and others who just joined? Have you guys thought about it, the homework? Let me be very clear, if you haven't, just please put a no so that we know that okay, you do not have any idea to discuss so far. We'll take it in the next session. Navya, Komal, and others, people who just joined, if you remember, we had given a homework in the previous session about you inventing something for the problem statement of we not being able to prioritize stuff or schedule things properly. Have you worked on that? Have you thought about any invention, guys? Navya, Komal, and whoever joined right now. I'll have to check the names then, guys. I think no one. I'll consider this as a no. Guys, I would really appreciate, okay, note take app. Okay. Can you just try to unmute and maybe try to explain note take app? How would it work? That would be better, Navya, because this is the first answer I'm getting this evening about the homework. If you can please unmute yourself, Navya, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Can you just elaborate this invention? How would it work?
Like in our busy schedule, we may forget everything like our important dates or any work's main dates, ma'am. Like for example, assignment deadlines or anyone birthdays
Mm-hmm.
or etc.
Okay.
For that,
Okay.
if we take like note app, in that we will have any reminder, and
Okay.
also we can feed the dates and like description about that, so that
Mm-hmm.
the people can remember that dates.
Okay, so basically you're telling me that you will create an app in which you can put the notes also, like what is to be done, and the reminders also in one single app and not two different apps like that.
Yes, ma'am. And also
Oh,
like
that's
we can take important points of any lectures or anything like
yeah,
that
that
also.
sounds amazing. Cool. That was a great idea. So what you can do is if you have time, just document it and keep it with you or maybe share it in the group with everyone else. All right. So that's great,
Okay, ma'am.
Navya. Appreciate
Thank,
it. All right.
thank you.
So anybody else has any thoughts on any invention? Thinking of this as the first idea of the evening. Komal and others who just joined. I cannot see the names, or else I would have taken all the names. Okay, I suppose no. I'll take that as a no from you guys. Okay. So let's start off with our lesson one then. So, lesson one, the lesson for today that we have is Introduction to Machine Learning. I hope everyone is prepared with the lessons we had given. You had to go through the machine learning lesson up till supervised learning. I hope everyone is prepared for the session today. So in this session, what we will get is we'll get an overview of what is machine learning, what are the applications of it, the usage, where in which parts is machine learning used, do we actually use it on daily basis, and the different key concepts of machine learning. So my first question to you is let's think now, let's put our curious caps on. What would you want a computer to be able to do that it can't currently do? If you had one power, girls, and if you could ask computer to do anything for you, what would be that one thing you would ask the computer to do that it is not able to do today? Come on, think about it now. Let me give one example. Currently computer is not able to wake me up at time. Alarm is a different thing. What I want is I want a robotic computer to be there and wake me up every day, because I have the issue of not waking up early. I hope many of you are facing that issue over here, because we do not sleep early anyways. So my if I wanted the computer to do something for me that it cannot do currently, is the computer waking me up by like actually moving me, like wake up Mamta and something like that. What about you? If you would want your computer to be able to do something that it cannot currently do, what would it be? Come on. I want answers from all of you. If we sit in silence like this, we are not getting any answers. Think about it, which is that one thing you would want your computer to do. I'll pick up you guys randomly then if I do not get answers from you. Let's start off with Komal. Komal hasn't answered since the start of the session. Komal, can you hear me? Is she there? Is she there? I'm not sure. What about others? It's just a simple question. Come on. What would you want your computer to be able to do that it cannot currently do? Yes, Prajakta, come on. Cook any dish for me. Okay, cool.
Uh, complete my assignments in my own handwriting.
Okay, I wish we had that, isn't it? Okay, I wish I had that in my schools as well. Yes, to be very specific, in engineering college. Okay, so maybe computer should be able to do your assignments or cook the dishes for you. I do not appreciate an art and beauty. Okay. Meaning? I didn't get it, Aishwarya. What do you mean by that? Cool. So these are the few things you want the computer to be able to do. But in order to do that, like you said specifically, Prajakta, you mentioned in my handwriting, isn't it? So you should be able to train your computer in such a way, and the computer should be trained in that aspect to 100%, so that it should be able to give you those required outputs, isn't it? So when we talk about what do you want the computer to be able to do that it cannot currently do, that is when our topic of machine learning comes into picture. That is when we think about machine learning. So anybody over here can explain, or if you have gone through the sessions, the lessons, can any one of you tell me what exactly is machine learning? The examples you gave me, like cook dishes for me, I said it should be able to wake me up. You said that it should be able to do your assignments. Trust me, I'm going to remember that answer now for the rest of my life. Yes, Prajakta.
Ma'am, in machine learning, we can use two approaches. First
Mm-hmm.
of all, the top-down approach, and the second is bottom-up approach. So, in
Okay.
top-down approach, what we can do is we can set, we can pre-program the machine to do the particular tasks,
Mm-hmm.
which are as similar to that of the human activities. So, we
Okay.
can pre-program the machine to do those tasks, and this is the
Mm-hmm.
top-down approach of making machines learn. And the
Yeah.
second is bottom up approach, in which what we can do is we can make means machine learn like humans, the machines will get smarter
Mm-hmm.
with the time, with the
With the
help of
time.
neural networks.
Mm-hmm.
That approach, the machines will automatically start learning from trial and error methods. So these
That's
are the
amazing.
two approaches by which
Mm-hmm.
we can make machines learn.
Machines learn. That was great, Prajakta. That was an appropriate answer. So you are telling me that machine learning is a type of technology in which the computers learn from their experience, from their data, without specifically being programmed to do so. Just like how you've told, just like how we learn from our experience. So machine learning algorithms also learn from their experience, from their data. They learn from patterns in data to make predictions or decisions. We might have heard of stock market and so many stuff wherein predictions are made. So that is nothing but your machine learning algorithms. Machine learning is used in so many different areas that we'll be talking about today. So what is machine learning? Machine learning is a type of computer technology that will help, that will allow computer to automatically learn and improve from their own data. Yeah, getting machines to make decision by feeding them data. Exactly. You do not have to explicitly program it every time. It learns from its experience. Good job, both of you. So now that you have told me what is machine learning, can we just bring back some old friends and the new friends that we made today? Is there any difference between AI and ML, or are they the same? Today we are discussing ML. You gave me a different explanation, a different definition of ML. In the previous session you gave me a different definition of AI. So is there any difference or no? Everybody, is there a difference between ML and AI, or true or false will do? I'm saying yes, there is a difference between AI and ML. True or false? Is my statement true or false? Please make use of your chat box and at least try to put a true or false if you agree with my statement or not. I'm saying yes, there is a difference between AI and ML. True or false? True. Okay, Aishwarya's okay, true. Others, I want a true or false. Okay, true, true, false. ML is one of the part of AI. Okay. So if you are saying part, you are basically telling me that technically both of them are different. So people who said true, people who agreed to my statement. Now can you try to justify it? I said there is a difference between ML and AI. So what is the difference between ML and AI? People who said true and people who are saying false. Can you justify your false? Let's see. Prajakta said false. I guess all the others said true. Yeah. So anyone wants to justify why true or why false? Yes, Nehal, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
ML is the part of AI, and they are different because ML is the part of AI, and AI having the multiple things under it, like ML, deep learning, and computer vision,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
That's
ML
why.
is a part of AI. ML is just a small part, and AI is a broader field, you are telling me.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it conducts like robotics, computer vision, NLP. These different branches are under AI, ML.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anybody else wants to justify? Good, Snail. I like the approach of you explaining it to me in a simple manner. Anybody else? So Snail just put in a point that ML is just a part or a subset of AI. AI deals with broad things. She means that AI deals with broad things like creating a whole of a robot. When I say whole of a robot, responding to your text messages, I mean responding to your voice recognition, responding to whatever you tell it, moving hands, movements, everything. However, whenever you say ML, it just works on one single field. It just works on one single application, not the overall application. Anybody else wants to justify their true or false? I'll take your pin drop silence as no. So yes, artificial intelligence is like a broad field of computer science, very broad, that focuses on creating machines, whole of machines that perform tasks that typically human would do, that require human intelligence. When you say human intelligence, aren't we as humans are able to do multitasking, like learning, problem solving, decision making, listening, everything? Machine learning, however, on the other hand, is a subfield of AI that focuses on developing algorithms that allow machines to learn from their data without being explicitly programmed. All right. So that is the difference between ML and AI. Now that we know the difference between ML and AI, can any of you like just take 5 minutes of your time now that we know what exactly is ML, what exactly is AI? Take a pen and a book, or maybe use the chat box. Look around and note down at least eight. If you think eight is too much, at least five things or applications or places where you think machine learning is used. Explain how that works. We'll go into the second part. First, let's understand or let's segregate the portions where ML is used. So, what do you guys think? In your daily life, here and there, near your place, where exactly do you see ML being used? You can put it in the chat box again, or you can just unmute yourself. Yes, Prajakta.
Yes, ma'am. ML is used in facial recognition apps, like when we have to open our smartphone. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a lock. One is the fingerprint, and one is like facial recognition. So we
Facial
use it
recognition.
to unlock our smartphone.
Okay, facial recognition is one of them. What else? So I'm just putting this question on your Discord. You want, you can put it there also. I want everybody to be present on Discord, all right? So that we can have a track of what we have studied, and people who have missed also should be knowing what we have. Okay. Siri, Alexa, Assistant. Okay, Aishwarya, put it on the Discord if you want. Put it on the Discord channel. Same for Prajakta. Prajakta, you just answered with facial recognition techniques, right? So you can just put it on Discord. In which channel? We are on training sessions LPF, so that we can keep a track of the topics that we are studying. Go ahead, Aishwarya and Prajakta. Aishwarya says voice assistant, Siri, Alexa. Prajakta said facial recognition. We got two. I need three more, guys. Come on. What are the areas in which you see ML being used? Machine learning. Come on, think about it. So, what was machine learning again? It was a branch of AI that focuses on developing algorithms. So, wherein do you see algorithms?
Ma'am, also when
Hmm.
we are like using the shopping apps like Mintra,
Mm-hmm.
so there, according to our choices, like whatever the random choices we make, on the
Mm-hmm.
basis of that, we get to see the further products
For the products.
for
So,
shopping.
recommendations, you get personalized recommendations. Where do you see these recommendations elsewhere? One is e-commerce website. What else?
Yes,
Any
YouTube,
YouTube,
then Instagram, like almost
Instagram.
all the social media apps use this technique.
Cool. So all the social media apps that are hosted on your internet uses ML in personalized recommendations. Cool. Three of them. Personalized recommendation, facial recognition, voice assistance. I need two more. Come on, guys. Two more examples of where ML is used. People, you can simply use the chat box on Discord to answer, even if you do not want to unmute. Google Maps, cool. So Google Maps uses your navigation. So it uses the data to check, okay, wherever there is traffic. If in case if it is wrong, so you give it a feedback. You go and give it a feedback that your answer was wrong. So that machine learning algorithm learns from the feedback you give. Cool. Fourth is Google Maps. One more. Can I get one more example of ML in your day-to-day life? We got facial recognition, online fraud detection. Amazing. So in online fraud detection also, credit card companies and banks, all of these use ML to detect fraudulent transactions. You get messages, right? Is it you? If it is not you, just call on this particular number in real time. They help you to protect your finances. So I want you to put all of these answers, Nehal, Nyaneshwari, Aishwarya, on your Discord so that even you guys remember. We have a volatile memory, VLSI. How exactly in VLSI, Komal? How exactly do we use ML in VLSI? If you can just elaborate. Spam filtering, I mean.
To reduce time and accuracy in the VLSI.
Oh, to reduce time and accuracy in the VLSI chip. Okay, cool. That is amazing. So we got six of them. Amazing, guys. That was really cool. So all of these are real-time example of your machine learning. So if I give you a few more. So personalized recommendations, spam filtering, someone said on Discord, digital assistants, as you guys mentioned, Siri, Alexa, fraud detection, you mentioned, speech recognition technology. You might have seen in Word, when you say something so it gets written, or maybe you go on YouTube, you are too lazy to type, let's say like me, right? So you go to YouTube, there is a search button, and just next to search button there is a mic wherein you click and you say something and it gets searched. Speech recognition. Language translation is also there, like Google Translate uses ML. Face recognition, as you said, facial recognition. Online customer service, meaning chatbots, etc., that talk with you and they do not feel like you're talking to a chatbot. Traffic prediction, your Google Maps, as you told me. Health diagnosis, the explanation that we just saw earlier, like how AI can be used in so many healthcare activities. So all of these ML algorithms are used in scenarios like this. Now that you guys have told me some differences between ML and AI, what I'll do is I'll be giving you some scenarios or some machines. What you guys have to tell me is if this belongs to AI or if this belongs to ML. All right, are you guys ready to do that? I'll be putting it in the Discord chat bot in the training sessions LPF. So, which of these belong to AI or ML? All you have to do is put in just AI or ML. So, the very first option I'm giving is personal assistant apps like Siri or Alexa. What do you think they belong to? Do they belong to totally AI or totally ML? ML, okay. Snehal says ML. What about others? Personal assistant apps like Siri or Alexa, do they are they a part of ML or are they a part of AI? Or both of them? There are some places wherein both of them are used. So if both of them are used, use an AI and ML. Others, what about others? It's just Snehal whose answer I've got so far. Please go on the Discord channel and try to answer which of these belongs to AI or ML or both of them. Personal assistant apps like Siri or Alexa. ML. Okay. Just ML. It is responding to you, but isn't it also taking input from you? So technically, they are examples of AI since they can recognize speech and respond with a human like language. But they also use machine learning to improve their ability to recognize different accents and understand the user request over time. So your chatbots are an example of both of them, ML and AI. Now let's come to the second one. The second one is self-driving cars. Self-driving cars are an example of ML totally or AI totally or both of them, guys. Be quick. ML or AI, self-driving cars, or both? AI. It's an example of both. Okay. So self-driving cars is yet another example of AI since they use a variety of technologies to, sense the environment, make decisions about how to drive. And when you say both, so at times what happens is it also learns from its experience. When you say self-driving cars, you have heard of Tesla and all of the self-driving cars a lot, right? So they learn from their experience, isn't it? So these machines are a combination of both ML and AI, both of them. Let's say one more. Mm, let's have a third one, that is medical diagnosis system. So one more medical diagnosis system. Is it example of ML or AI or both of them? When you say ML, no, just be sure that you also mean that this is learning from its past experience. AI, okay? AI, AI. Let's wait for Snehal. She's typing something. So medical diagnosis system is a part of ML or AI or both of them. So many of you have answered AI. Am I getting any more answers? Okay, doesn't seem like it. So your medical diagnosis systems, such as those to detect cancer that we just saw at the start of the sessions, are examples of AI on a large scale. So AI is used in medical, diagnosis system that will help you to diagnose stuff and cure it at a time when it is curable. So these are all the examples wherein your ML and AI are used in combination, or at times only AI, at times only ML. Now, let's have a small quiz. Okay, this we did. You will be given some machines that, So you get, I got three questions, and barely like three answers from you guys. What happened? Are you guys very tired today of your schools? Is it of the college? Barely three answers are coming on Discord, even though there are like around 16 people over here. I hope everybody's present on Discord because I can see only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 8 of you guys. Please try and answer so that we can get through this all together. So now we will be talking about ML process, the process in which actually your machine learning works. For your understanding, I have just created a diagram. Now, actually, this diagram speaks a lot. If you just see, there are blocks like data, then there is processing, then there is prediction, decision, and the result. If somebody can look at this diagram and try to, yeah, if somebody can look at this diagram and try to just tell me about what exactly is happening over here just once, look at the diagram, take a couple of minutes, and then try to tell me if you understand how exactly the ML process works. Look at it, try to decode it, and then let's try to understand how does it work. And yes, Prajakta, there you go. There's your Discord link. So people, in ML process, I have like five steps involved: data, process, prediction, decision, and result. Can any of you try to decode what exactly is happening? So we will be starting off from data. So what is data? What exactly is happening in process? Then prediction, decision, result. Come on, guys. Yes, Prajakta, go ahead.
Ma'am, suppose we take an example of like we have to translate one message from suppose English to Hindi.
Okay.
So the data what is given will be some text words in English.
Okay.
So that will be the data.
Mm-hmm.
Then the process now that the machine will recognize that the data is given in English and
Mm-hmm.
in what we have to convert it. Okay. Then now what the machine will do is do the prediction. Like it
Mm-hmm.
will see if there are any other words similar that were provided before to the machine or like what were the previous results given by the machine to
Right.
same kind of processes,
Mm-hmm.
and on basis of that it will give the it will make the final decision
Mm-hmm.
of the whatever the output is, and then finally after all the trials and errors it will give the final result to the user.
Cool. So your example was converting a text from English to Hindi. So you said the data is that text in English. Amazing.
Yes.
So the ML
Yes, ma'am.
process begins with this step data, which is collected. Like you said, if you want to convert a text from English to Hindi, so the first thing you need to have is that text. That is the prerequisite. If we do not have that text in English, then we cannot proceed. So step one is to collect the data and prepare it for analysis. Now, when you were explaining this to me, ki the text should be in English. What if the text is in English plus Spanish? There can be a possibility. You are collecting the data, you are collecting the text. So people who are giving you the data, let's say they are some different language, they follow a language other than English also. So your data can be a combination of English, meaning your required data, plus some extra things also in it. So we'll come to this data process once again. So this data, it can come from a variety of sources. Like she will give a data of written data. It can also come from sensors. It can come from social media. It can come from databases, etc. Then the second step is processing. Once your data is ready, you feed it to the algorithm, which is designed to analyze this data, read this data, study the data, and identify the patterns and relationships in this data. Then comes the prediction. ML algorithm generates predictions based on the patterns and relationships it has identified in the data. When I say predictions, you guys give exam, right? What happens is you guys get the question paper, you guys analyze the question paper, and then you predict, okay, I'll get 50 marks, I'll get 60 marks. Exactly same thing is happening with your ML algorithm. Predictions can take many forms, such as classifications. Like now there are two types of predictions. Predictions can be if it is spam or not, or numerical predictions, predicting the price of a stock, etc. Once the predictions are done, then you make decisions. So depending on the predictions generated, they can be used to inform decisions. They can be used to form some decisions. For example, a company might use an ML algorithm to predict which customers are most likely to churn, and then use this information to target the customers with like special offers, promotions, and all of that. So they make decisions depending on the predictions which have been made by your ML algorithm. Last and not the least, result. The ultimate goal of your ML is to generate the results that are useful, insightful, and actionable. Now, this might involve increasing the sales, or maybe improving customer satisfaction, reducing cost, or any business objectives. You guys might have observed, I'm not sure if this is happening right now. Your engineering curriculum, your engineering textbooks keep changing from time to time, even your schools. So this is happening why? So that because they carried out some survey. So okay, the students were not, doing that well, let's say in a particular subject. So then they create an algorithm to actually make new textbooks, and then they did all of this. They got the data, they processed it, analyzed it, made predictions. Okay, will this curriculum be nice for the students? Will it be easy? Will it be doable? Once that is done, then they actually make a decision if the textbook is nice, and they release it in the form of result. And then the result will actually give you if the students are able to do it, if there is any significant change in your percentages and all. So ML is used literally in all the places. This entire process, right from data to the result, is carried out in all the different fields, no matter where you work. So now, like you mentioned the very first term, data. So yeah, you get the data from various sources, right? But I told you, like currently you need a data that was text in English. But what if the person who is giving you the text is, let's say, a Spanish person or something? So there will be different issues in data, no? The different issues might be, let's say there is a word unnecessary, but the spelling is wrong. Then let's say inconsistent formatting, meaning the words are here and there all jumbled up, or there is no relevant information and all of that. So is that possible, guys, or is that not possible? Do we get the data all cleaned, or do we get the data all messed up? Put your opinions in the chat box. Whenever you get a data from somewhere, do you get the data 100% clean, or do you get the data all messed up with all of those errors or maybe missing values and all of that. So messed up or clean, you have two options. When you get the data from anywhere, let's say you took a survey, so people fill the form all neatly, or do they just mess it up, mixed and mess up, right? You might have gone, like, you most of you guys are in engineering colleges, so you might have a report card to make, and then you have to take sign of all the teachers just so that it gets submitted, isn't it? So you might have seen the teachers don't sign it at that particular spot you want them to, they'll just sign here and there, so meaning the data that you are getting is all messed up. So then how will it work? Because once the data is messed up, the incoming data, it can have missing values, it can have inconsistent formatting, it can have outliers, values that you do not need anymore, irrelevant features, the data that is not even relevant. Like she said, she needs to convert English to Hindi. You got a Marathi data set which is totally irrelevant, or imbalanced data, the data that is imbalanced in any way. So incoming data might have the following issue, like data set is imbalanced, it can lead to biased result. So what can we do, guys? What can we do to actually avoid all of these? Because if you feed this type of data to your machine learning algorithm, imagine the predictions it would make. It would make totally weird predictions, right? Imagine if you do not know the formula of percentage, but still you are calculating percentage. So there is a sure possibility that you will calculate the wrong percentage. So what do you think will happen if I feed this type of data, the one that has all sort of issues in it, to the machine learning algorithm? What will happen, guys? Come on, come up with some answers. If I feed this type of data to my machine learning algorithm, what will happen? Will I get the expected results? Will my machine learning algorithm work to what I expect it to work for? Will I get the expected results if
No,
I
it will
feed this?
create the back impact on the
Yeah,
model.
exactly. It will either backfire or create a bad impact, or the results will be very wrong. So it's like, how in maths, if we just, miss out one single step or one single dot, how the entire result change. Same happens with machine learning algorithms also. So the incoming data, which has all of these things, it has to be like, carried out with some things in that. Now, before we go on a 5 minute break, I want you to, when you come back, I want you to think about it. Like, what can we do to this data so that we can actually make it fit to feed? And what is that process called? So, think about it that your incoming data has all of these issues, like the missing values, doesn't have proper formatting, outliers, it has all of these issues with it basically. So what can we do to actually fix it so that we can actually feed it to the machine learning algorithm? Does anyone have answer to this right now? Or should we go on a break and then discuss it? If anybody has answers, you can raise your, okay.
Data preprocessing.
Data pre-processing, okay. Any small explanation you can give me about what exactly do you mean by data pre-processing?
We are cleaning the data and checking for the outliers presence and
Okay,
missing values, null values
okay. So
of
cleaning,
the libraries. Yeah.
okay, cleaning the data. Samruddhi is also saying sorting the data. Okay, okay. Anything else? When you say data pre-processing, does it involve only these two steps, that is cleaning, sorting, or more things involved? You can either put it in chat or raise your hand if you have any more steps that you think can be used in data pre-processing. Anybody? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll give you a short uh, let's take a 5 minute break. So it's 5:50 currently. Let's be back by 5:55. All right. So till then, what I'll do is I'll be also sharing, one second. I'll be also sharing the attendance form with you guys. So I want you to fill it, and also I want you to think about the different steps. Two of them we got were sorting and cleaning the data for data pre-processing. I want a few more steps. So once we are back from the break, we'll be also discussing some more steps of data pre-processing. So let's be back in 5 minutes. Is that okay, or do we need a little bit more? Wait. 5 minutes break is fine. You can drink some water. Now I'm not sure if I need to consider pin drop silence as a yes or no. The form requires permit. You have the permission, don't you?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah,
Ma'am, I'm joining the Discord channel, but it's showing me the message that the link is invalid or expired.
the link is okay. I'll share a new one. Just 1 second.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
guys, I am opening the form, though it's opening for me. Can you just check? Because for me it is opening. Others, can you just check once? Till then, I'll share the link of the channel with you. Copy. Prajakta, this one is for you. This is for the Discord channel. Others,
Hello,
can you?
ma'am.
Yeah,
The form is asking for permission.
yeah. For you,
It's
it
not.
is asking permission. Can somebody else also try? Because when I am doing it, it is working for me. Snehal, Nyaneshwari, Navya, can you? Okay, the form needs permission. Give me a second. Let me just check. Okay, got it. Okay. Guys, can you check it now? I'll be sharing another link. Hold on. Just check it now once. If it works, fine. Else I'll just share another link with you. No, okay. Try this. Cool. I think Prajakta, you just join.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. My pleasure. Please look at this link now. Just this one, the attendance one, the other one. This should be accessible, yeah. Still no. When you open it, what does it say, guys? When you open it, what does it say? Because I have given the permission.
Ma'am, it's saying like it can be viewed only by the owner's organization.
अरे यार.
Ma'am, the new link is redirecting to another page. And
Mm-hmm.
if we click on the link, then it again shows the same page, which was not opening.
Okay. Okay. I think then we'll just stick to what we did in the last session. I'll just share the attendance link then. I think that should be fine. I mean, the sheet. In the previous session, we had a sheet, no? So, 1 second. I'll just share that with you. I'll check this once. So, sharing the link of the sheet, this in this you have the previous session attendance also. So, I'll just create a blue line at the bottom. I mean, when the previous session attendance is done, just try to do it after that. So you can start off from 45th line, guys. I'll just share the link 1 second. Go ahead. Do it from line 45. All right. Start off from 45. That will be our attendance for session 2. Cool. That is accessible now. I can see you guys entering. So, okay. So let's just take a 5 minute break from now. Let's be back by 6, guys. So fill it up, drink some water, and let's be back in like 5 minutes. All right. Cool. Has everybody filled the form? I mean, has everybody filled up their attendance? Is anybody left? I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of you people. People who have filled up the attendance sheet, can you please acknowledge with, okay, 11. Okay, still filling up. Okay. I assume everybody is done filling up by now. Guys, are you done filling up? Can I get a yes or no in the chat so that we can start? I guess most of you are done. Done. Okay, cool. Others? Yes, Prajakta. Done. Or yes, she means done. Okay, okay, cool. So now that we are done, so if you remember, we had say these issues with the incoming data, like there were missing values, outliers. Outliers are basically values that you do not need, irrelevant features, and all of that. So you guys told me that we can actually do a process of data pre-processing. And you said data pre-processing is basically a way in which we can, like prepare the data for machine learning algorithms. You said the different ways would be one of them would be data cleaning. So you said we'll remove the errors, we'll remove the inconsistent values or inaccuracies from a data set. Cool. Data cleaning was one of them. The another one was, what was the other one that we discussed apart from data cleaning? Does anybody remember? We spoke about data cleaning and somebody had also said sorting the data, if you remember. So the different steps involved in data processing are data cleaning. Now let's have a look at them one by one, one at a time. So when you say data cleaning, guys, what do I actually mean by cleaning the data? Will I take a detergent and clean the data? Is it that, or what? What do you mean by cleaning the data? Anyone? What do you mean by cleaning the data?
Separating out the unnecessary data.
Cool. Removing out the unnecessary data. What else? Anything else? Or that's it? Data cleaning means just removing the unnecessary data. When you clean during your Diwali vacations, you have to clean your house, right? Do you remove everything or do you actually try to clean the already available things? What do you do? Because what you said was throwing everything away. So removing is what? But do you actually clean also? Like, yes, this is just, having some dirt on it. So I'll just clean it. So is it both the ways or do you just remove everything from the house? What do we do?
Both the ways, ma'am.
Both the ways, right? So over here, data cleaning means both of them, identifying and removing errors, and if they are correctable, we can correct them also. So the purpose of data cleaning is to improve the quality of data, ensuring that it is accurate. Second thing is normalizing the data. Does anyone have any idea what is normalizing? What do you say? What do you mean when you say normalizing the data? What's the meaning of normalizing data, guys? Anyone? Sorry, can you just be a little bit louder?
Scale up the data to the particular range.
Scaling or cutting down the data to a common range. So let's say we have we have to visualize data of weight and height. Weight is let's say the scale of the weight is 50 to 150 and the height is 150 to 200. So you see the amount of change, the amount of difference the data have, 50 to 150 and 150 to 200, right? The weight and height. So in this scenario, we need to scale a data to a common range so that you can visualize it pretty well. So that is normalizing the data, scaling down or cutting it down into a common range. Then the third step, or the different ways in that, we have transforming data. What do you mean by transforming data, guys? What is the meaning of transforming data? Yes, anyone? Transforming data?
Ma'am, arranging or making the data in a more usable format,
Mm-hmm.
understandable format, for making the further processes easy.
Cool. So it involves transforming or making them more suitable, in a more suitable format for understanding and for analysis of your machine learning algorithms also. So just a suitable format in which your data can be put into. That is called as transforming the data. Last but not the least, we have feature selection and extraction. So what is the feature selection and extraction step about? What do you think this word itself suggests? Feature selection and extraction. Yeah. Yes, Neil. When we say feature selection and extraction, what would this step do normally? Snail, are you saying something? Because we can't hear you. Okay, we can't hear you. You can type it.
Ma'am,
Okay, yeah.
selecting the features from already existing data.
Okay. What do you mean by features? Why is feature selection important? Why do you think? Why is selecting relevant features so important?
Maybe to analyze the data, like to decide of what form is the data. So, like the feature which is most common or seen in pattern.
Okay.
So we can select it and then we can go to the further steps.
Okay, so let's take an example that you want to buy a phone, okay, and you want to buy a phone, and the data that you have is, let's say, the name of the phone you have the cost of the phone, you have who developed the phone, like which company created the phone, you also have in which year was the phone launched in the market, you also have the features of the phone. Let's say you have a competitive phone, we have the competition of phones, right, like the processors used in it and all of that. So when you are buying a phone, okay, amongst the columns I mentioned or amongst the features I mentioned, which of the features do you find relevant? If you are buying a phone, which features would you look at? I said there is costing, there is naming, there is the country in which it was launched, there is the developer of the phone, meaning who actually created that. Then there is the different features of the phone. You have 5 columns. Which relevant features would you look into before buying a phone?
Ma'am, company, costing.
Mhm. Would you look at in which country is it developed?
No, ma'am,
Not
probably
really.
no.
So that is not a relevant feature. Would you look at who is the developer of the phone? Most probably no. When we know the name, so I think that's it. That is where the scenario ends, right? So when you say X feature selection and extraction, meaning you have a set of data, you're just selecting the relevant features that would be required for making the predictions, making the decisions, all right? So that is all about data pre-processing. There are few more steps in this. These are just the 4 more mostly used steps in data processing. There are a few more that we shall discuss sooner or later. Now, depending on what we have had in our on our table so far, let's have a small quiz. So this quiz will be sort of an MCQ, the way we had in the previous session. All right. All you have to do is go to the Discord. I'll just put the questions on Discord. You have to answer it in A, B, C, or D. This is an MCQ round. So I hope everybody is present on Discord. So your first question goes, what is data pre-processing? Now I have 4 different ways to tell you that this is data pre-processing. What do you think? Which one is the best? Is it the process of cleaning, formatting, or visualizing using charts and graphs, or collecting the data, or deploying a machine learning models into making predictions? What is a data pre-processing actually? Okay. A, Okay. Are you guys sure? People who are putting A, are you guys sure? Maybe you need to, maybe you want to look at the options once again. And people who haven't yet answered but are still online, put in your answer. There is Bhavna, Deepu, Navya, there's Sakshi, there's Sindhu, A. Okay. What about others? So you all guys are saying that one, two, three, four, five of you are saying data pre-processing is the process of cleaning and formatting raw data for analysis of machine learning models. Is that true? About others? What about others? Navya, Deepu, Sakshi, and Sakshi has answered. My bad, sorry. Navya, Deepu, Bhavna. I hope you guys are not answering in the chat. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to question number 2. So we were talking about something called as data cleaning. What does data cleaning do? It cleans the missing data. I mean, the inaccuracies in data. So there was an inaccuracy called missing value. So I'm giving you 4 datas. Which of these do you think is an example of missing data? Customer's age is 18, customer's age is NA, customer's age is 25.5, customer's age is 50 plus. B, okay. What is NA, guys? What is NA? You might have seen this NA visible in many surveys or forms you might have filled up. So what is NA? Not applicable. Uh-huh. Not applicable. So a data which is technically not available or not applicable. All right. Let's have one more. Just one more. So third question for you. Which of these is not a step in data processing? Which of these is not a step in data processing? Feature scaling, trimming, data visualization, or handling missing data? Please think about this really carefully because I've done some wordplay in this. Which of the following is not a step in data pre-processing? Is it feature scaling or is it trimming or is it data visualization or handling missing data? Okay, Snail says it's C. So does Prajakta, Samruddhi, and Sakshi. So when you say data visualization, you are visualizing the data on how it would look like. You're not really in the step. You're not really in the step of data pre-processing. Pre-processing is more like handling the data, cleaning it, and preparing it. Visualization is not the process. Is not a step of your data pre-processing. That's great, guys. Amazing. So depending on the quiz of data pre-processing, all the answers you gave this time were pretty correct. So now that we are actually done with data pre-processing, let's have a look now at where this data is used. So we have a lesson 2 for that, introduction to supervised learning. We'll talk about supervised learning and the data that we just spoke about. In this lesson, we'll just get an introduction to the different types of machine learnings we have, and we'll explore a little bit on supervised learning. And at the end, guys, today we'll be having a small code session wherein we'll be starting off to code with Python. So let's begin. So there are different types of machine learnings available. Technically, there are 3 different types of machine learnings available. You might have heard of these. You might have heard of supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement. Has anyone over here heard of any of these, even just once? Even just like maybe you might have heard of just supervised, just unsupervised, or reinforcement. Any one of you knows this beforehand, or anyone of you actually? Yes, okay. So Snehal knows. Others? Maybe from the lessons or from the basics of AI course itself. Do you have any idea about any of these different types of ML? Maybe supervised, unsupervised, or the third one, reinforcement? All right. So in today's session, we'll be covering up with the very first type, that is supervised learning. Now, let me just give you a small detail. Supervised learning is a type of machine learning. Yes, it is just a type of machine learning, but it has a specific significance. So, can you tell me what exactly is supervised learning and what is the significance? What makes supervised learning different from the unsupervised and reinforcement learning? What exactly do we know about supervised learning? Anybody, you can just raise your hand and or maybe put it in the chat. What do you know about supervised learning? What is supervised learning according to you? I think you're trying to say something, Snail, but we are not able to hear you. I think some earphone issue, maybe. Yeah, you're facing some earphone issue. No worries, you can type it out in the chat if you want. Others, what do you know about supervised learning? What exactly do you understand by these two words? Supervised learning. Do we have a teacher who is supervising the data? Like how you guys are being supervised during your exams, is it? What is supervised learning? Labeled data is used. Okay. Anyone else? What is supervised learning? So Snail says supervised learning is a type of machine learning where the algorithm learns from labeled data. Now let us just have a quick introduction to what is labeled data. Labeled data refers to the data that has already been categorized, okay, or classified with correct answers in supervised learning. The algorithm which is trained on this labeled data, what it does is it learns to predict the correct output based on the input. Now when I say labeled data, meaning you have photos of cats and dogs specifically categorized as this is cat and this is dog. You do not have just like random mixed image of cat, dogs, rabbit, raccoon without being labeled, without being categorized into different fields. So when I say labeled data is the one which is classified, or categorized with correct answers. So that is what supervised learning is. It is a type of machine learning where the algorithm learns from labeled data. Now that we know labeled data, let us just have a small discussion on the four different types of data I have. You guys tell me if that is a labeled data or not. Let's start off with the first one. I want you to put all of your answers in the Google Meet chat. Have a look at the very first example. Set of student demographics with no corresponding test scores, meaning you have the data of student demographics but then there is no corresponding test scores. Is that a labeled data or an unlabeled data? Is that a label? Is it categorized whenever you are giving any exam, or whenever you give any test? What matters over here? Score matters, right? What marks you have got. The first type of data I have is the set of student demographics but with no corresponding test scores. Samruddhi says it is unlabeled. What about others? Unlabeled. Others? What happened to Nyaneshwari, Amruta, Navya, Sakshi, all of you guys? Unlabeled. So since it does not have a corresponding test score, how are we going to categorize the students, right? So that is why the first data that we have is unlabeled. Let's go to the second one, this one. A set of emails which is labeled as spam or not spam. So in this category belongs to which one? Labeled or unlabeled? A set of emails which is labeled as spam or not spam. Labeled, right? Since they are categorized into two of them. One is the spam data and one is the not spam data or emails, whatever. The third one at the bottom left side. A set of news articles labeled with corresponding category, maybe with sports, politics, or whatever is going on in the city, current affairs, everything. So what does that follow into? Labeled data, since it is categorized into which all category it belongs to. Let's say politics, let's say sports, or maybe education, whatever. The last one, a collection of customer reviews with no classification. When I say no classification, meaning no rating, just reviews. So you do not know if it is a negative review or a positive review. It's an unlabeled data since it does not have a classification, right? If it's a positive or a negative review. So these are the different data, and we are just classifying it into if that are unlabeled or labeled. Now that you have told me what exactly labeled data over here is, what exactly is an unlabeled data, what I want to ask you out of the box question is, what do you think can be the advantage of using labeled data? Supervised learning is used for a reason, right? So now that you know what is labeled data versus what is unlabeled data, according to you, just a question out of box, what do you think can be the advantages of using this labeled data? What do you think? What do you think can be the advantage of using labeled data, guys?
Ma'am, the time complexity of the algorithm will be less.
Will be less since it knows what is your input and the expected output because you have labeled data. Amazing. So the time complexity less, the time it will take to predict will be less. Anything else apart from timing constraint? Anything else?
We will get more accurate output.
More accurate output. So the accuracy, when you talk about the supervised learning, the accuracy is the highest. The accuracy of the model can be improved as they provide a clear understanding of the data when it is labeled, right? So these are just a few examples of labeled data. Now, just have a look near you. You might have some data next to you. Maybe it's in your book, maybe it's in your laptop, or maybe it's in your phone or any other place, or maybe it's just pictures next to you, like the Polaroid one. So have a look. You tell me at least two examples. It can either be both supervised, I mean both labeled, both unlabeled, or one labeled and one unlabeled. I'll go first. So I have like a wall filled of all photographs, but then it is characterized. I have the photos of my pet, and then I have the photos of some function. So I have them categorized. So for me, that is a labeled data. What about you guys? Just next to you, do you have any labeled or unlabeled data? Yes, Prajakta.
Ma'am, the labeled one is the books kept in the bookshelf according to the category,
Mm-hmm.
and unlabeled one is the clothes kept in the cupboard. They are not categorized
They are
or
not.
like they are placed.
All right, cool, good example. What about others? Just have a look nearby. Do you have any example of labeled and unlabeled data? I have a shelf full of newspapers next to me, but then they are not categorized. They are just placed one below the another. So I'll call them as unlabeled data. I haven't categorized as this is from yesterday, this is from today, this belongs to this newspaper brand, or this belongs to that. So that is an unlabeled data for me. Anybody? Just have a look. Do you have any labeled or unlabeled data next to you? Nothing? We do not have any single piece of data next to us?
Ma'am,
Hmm.
again, the books are labeled beside me, according to my subjects are labeled, and the pens that I have are unlabeled. I mean, the pens are just kept together in the pouch.
Cool. So you are not really sure which is the it's just the pouch filled with all the pens. You're not sure which one to be used when. Cool. So that is an example of unlabeled data. You're just feeding the data into that bookshelf or into the onto the wall or onto into that pouch, right? So there are two ways in which you can do that. Supervised, which is labeled, and unsupervised, which is we'll be talking about later. But in supervised, what we use is the labeled data. Advantages being it increases the accuracy and the time complexity is less. Cool. So these were all the advantages. So one of them was it will also achieve the target. One of them was accuracy target. One of them you told me was time complexity. Third one is the data in supervised can also be updated very easily. Like when you talk about advantages, like they help in evaluation and interpretation, right? So label data, one, does not take time, increases the accuracy, provides a clear understanding, and also the data can be updated at times whenever required. So those are all the advantages of your supervised learning. Now, when you talk about supervised learning, there are three different algorithms that go by whenever we talk about supervised learning. And today we'll write a code for linear regression. for your homework, we'll be giving you logistic regression. So just clearing up what will be the homework, not keeping it a suspense. So let's talk about linear regression first. Anybody has any idea about what is a linear regression? Or let's just connect this to your mathematics. You being in engineering, you might have M1, M2, M3 as your subjects. So in that, what do you mean by this word linear? Linear meaning what? What do you mean by linear?
In series or consequently.
In series or consequently, cool. So when you say linear regression, when you combine both these words, what do you think a linear regression might mean, since it is a type of supervised learning algorithm? Think about it. Let's see. What do you guys understand by a combination of these two words, linear regression? Anyone? Okay. So linear regression is just a type of supervised learning algorithm which is used to model the relationship or trace the relationship between a dependent variable. Please listen to this carefully. Between a dependent variable and one or more independent variables. The goal of their linear regression is to find the best fit line. You said linear, you said in sequence. So linear means a single straight line. So the goal of linear regression is to find the best fit, the line that describes the relationship between the independent and the dependent variables. Let me give you an example. So in linear regression, whenever you are predicting a value. For example, you just gave your final exams. Okay, you just gave your final exams. So can you tell me your result depends on what all parameters? Your result, which is a dependent variable, that depends on what all parameters? You gave your engineering exams. Now your results depend on what all parameters, guys? Come on.
In semester exam marks, end sem marks, oral marks, practical marks, then term work.
Cool. So many things, all the mini projects, all the major projects that you guys have done. So your output is basically a value that is depending on so many parameters. So when you talk about linear regression is predicting a value, guys. So all your parameters you said in sem marks, then you had term work, you had viva, you had projects. So they combine up and give you a value, like your CGPA can be 8, 8.6, 9, 9.6, whatever. It's a value. So that comes in linear regression. Another example could be predicting, let's say, the stock prices. Will they go higher or will they go lower? Depending on the different variables, like what is the current exchange rate, then, how many people are investing in it and all of that. So all of these things are the, variables that are dependent on each other, and that would actually be trying to predict the stock market for you. So that is linear regression. So please make sure you remember, linear regression is when you are predicting a value. At the output, you are predicting a value. So that is the first algorithm of supervised. What about the second one? Anybody knows about logistic regression? Anyone? What is logistic regression? I told you about linear. It predicts the output as a value. Can you tell me what would be logistics? It's just a sibling of linear. However, the output is slightly different.
It classifies.
It classifies. Can you just give me any example for logistic regression?
If we are having the images
Mm-hmm.
or some data,
Mm-hmm.
like male and female data, then we can classify it on the characteristic if it is male or female and classified it.
Okay, all right. So we are classifying the data based on that. Anyone else? Anybody else wants to put in their answers for what do you understand by logistic regression? Anyone? So logistic regression is yet another type of supervised learning, but this is used to predict the probability of a categorical dependent variable. It is used to classify your data in just one of the two possible outcomes, yes or no. In the previous one, what I asked, your result depends on parameters like in term, I mean, in sem exam, then end sem exam, and your viva and all. So they combine up to give you a marks, to give you value. In logistic regression, all you are worried about is, will I pass or will I not? So two possible outcomes, yes or no. Example, if a customer is going to a particular, let's say, bookstore, the only two outputs we have is a customer buying the book or not buying the book, right? So the independent variables could be customer's name, customer's income, gender, while the dependent variable would be whether the customer will buy the book or not. So that comes under logistic regression. So the difference between linear and logistic, linear predicts a value for you, however logistic classifies for you in the scenario of yes or no. Will the the customer buy a product or not buy a product? Will I pass the exam or not pass the exam? So last but not the least, supervised learning has one more algorithm called as decision tree. And this is pretty simple. I think from the name itself, it's very clear. What exactly do you mean by a decision tree? We do this on daily basis. What do you mean by a decision tree algorithm? Anyone? Have you heard of family tree before? Have you heard of family tree?
Yes, ma'am. It is a hierarchical structure.
So if we can compare that to decision tree, think about it.
Yes, ma'am. There is a root node, and then there are branches.
hmm So if I just give you an example, so let's say I think all of us are hungry at this moment, right? So let's say the root node is I am hungry. H over here stands for hungry. So I'll check, do I have do I have money or do I not have money? Let's say, do I have money or do I not have money? NM. Let's say I'm just saying NM, not money. So if I have money, the first thing I'll see is I'll check if any healthy food is available. Let's say if any healthy food is available, then it'll either be a yes or no. So if a healthy food is available, yes, then I'll eat it. If the healthy food is not available, like no, then I'll not eat it. So you see, I'm taking a decision based on different parameters, right? So is this what decision tree is, or do you have any other explanation for this decision tree? Or is this is the same decision tree that you are trying to tell me? Guys, was that the same decision tree?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are we going to do in the decision tree algorithm? It is another supervised learning algorithm used for classification and regression problems. It is a tree-like model, the way that I showed you, in which each internal nodes represent a feature. Do I have money? Is there any healthy food available? Each branch represents a decision rule, a rule that I need to follow if I am answering a yes or no. And each leaf node represents the outcome or the classification. So the straight lines were your branches and the ovals were the nodes. For example, in predicting whether a person will buy a car or not, what do you think the various decisions we can put in the decision tree or various parameters? If I want to buy a car, what all parameters I'll be putting in the decision tree before finally buying a car? What do you think? If I want to buy a car, what all decisions will I go through? Or what all parameters will I go through? Okay, I'll start. First, I'll check if my age is below 21 or greater than 21. So if my age is less than 21, I'm not buying a car. But if my age is greater than 21, I'm buying a car. Then what? What is the next thing, guys, that we can check if my age is greater than 21? Anybody, what is the next thing I can check in that decision tree?
Do I have a driving license or not?
Do I have a driving license or not? So cool. If I do not have it, I'm not buying. But if I have it, next what? What else we can check?
What is the affordability? How?
Affordability. So depending on my income, if it is affordable or no, to end it. And if yes, so okay. Then we can also check family size. Like it's a let's say it's a four-seater car and my family is three-seater. So will I be able to sit in it? Yes. So then I'm buying. So these are the various decisions or where these are the various parameters that you check before actually finally reaching to a decision. So that is called as your decision tree algorithm. So before we go into the quiz part, or before we go into actually, writing a code for this and seeing some examples, I want to ask every single person present over here right now, are the things we have studied so far clear? Right, from introduction to ML, data pre-processing, and now supervised learning and an introduction to its algorithm. Guys, any doubts so far? Please put clear. Okay. What about others? Do we have anything unclear? Do we have any doubts? Snehal, Jnaneshwari, Amruta, Samruddhi, Navya, and 12 others. Okay. Clear. Okay. All right. All right. Then I'll take that as a yes from you guys. So now I'll just give you an example. You tell me if this is an example of linear regression or logistic regression. Predicting a house price is an example of which algorithm and why? When you are predicting the price of a house, is it linear? Is it logistics?
Linear algorithm.
Linear. Can you just tell me why do you think it is linear? Answer is correct, but just a why if you can
Because
elaborate.
because the price is dependent on the multiple independent variable,
Like
like the square foot of
area,
the house
yes.
area, yeah, area, or
Mm-hmm.
the area in which the house is.
Okay. Then maybe the cost also if it is affordable. Okay. What
Yeah.
else? Anything else? Maybe the size of the family. If let's say it's a 2 BHK house, will my four family people fit in there? So all of these are the parameters or the independent variables that eventually your price, being the dependent variable, will depend on. So that was the very first one. Cool. Let's have one more example. So this one, predicting if a customer will buy a product or not. This is an example of what? Linear or logistics? Predicting if a customer will buy a product from a store or not. Logistics regression. Can I have a why also? Like why a logistics regression? Is it predicting a value or is it predicting one of the two outputs being a yes or no? What do you think? Is it predicting a value output or just a yes or no output?
Ma'am, it's predicting either yes or no.
So there are only two points in which we can classify it. Like will the customer will either buy it or not. So that comes under your logistics regression. Amazing. So with that, we actually come to an end of the theoretical part of understanding some algorithms. Now let me actually take you through a small piece of code in which we'll write a code for linear regression. Again, what was linear regression? The one that in which the data falls into a straight line, predicting the value as the output. So over here, I'll give you a data set. And what we'll do is we'll predict the chance of admission of a student in university based on their TOEFL score. You give entrance exams, right? And depending on the score of the entrance exam, you get into universities and different colleges, right? So in here we have something called as TOEFL marks, and then depending on the TOEFL marks, we need to predict if the student is getting admission in the university or not. Like not admission in the university or not, it is predicting the chance. When I say chance, it can be 90% chance, 80% chance of the student entering, or maybe 60% chance of the student entering. So I'm predicting a value. I'm not just saying yes, he'll get into the university or no. That comes under a different model. This one is linear regression. So what the platform, like the name of the platform that we'll be using to write the Python code and you will be using for writing your homework code would be Google Colab. The language that we'll be using would be Python. And once you are done writing where to submit it, we'll submit it on GitHub. So all of these things I'll show it to you. All of these steps you will have to do it while you do your projects as well. Let me just show you. First, let's open Google Colab. All you have to say is you have to say Google Colab. And once you press and enter, the first one, the first link, welcome to Collaboratory, is where we go. If you do not have an account, it will just ask you to sign in. If you already have an account, you will have various projects, over here. And at the bottom, you can click on creating a new notebook and start off by writing your code over here. All right. Now give it a minute or so, depending on your network, it might take some time. Now, this is how your interface would look like. Here is where you will write your entire code. So once you write your code, let's say I'll just print hello guys. All right. So how will I see the output for this? So there is a run button over here, if you can see. So you can just click on run, and once you click on run, at the bottom, it might take a couple of minutes because since we are starting it for the very first time, the very first execution might take some time, but then it will be pretty fast. So at the bottom over here, it should print a hello guys for me. So this is your code block, and just below this, you will get the output block. There you go. That's your output block. If you want, you can add as many code blocks as you want. So print hello guys over here. Let's say you added one more code block. You can, bring in a complex code and separate it into simple pieces while by creating code blocks over here. So now let's have a look at the code for linear regression. So over here, what we are doing, we are trying to get, first of all, we are trying to get a data. You remember we discussed about data in the first step of ML process. So there is some data. Let me show some data sets to you. This is the data. In the first column, I have serial number 1, 2, 3, and so on. In the second column, I have the GRE score. If you see, that's my GRE score. In the third column, I have the TOEFL score. So 118, 107, whatever you see is the TOEFL score. Next is university rating, the rating that the university has, 4, 4, 3, and so on. Then there is SOP, LOR, CGPA, which is not really a matter of concern over here, nor is research. What are we interested in? We are interested in this column, chance of admit, and we are interested in this column, TOEFL score. So what we will do is we'll feed this TOEFL score into our computer, and the computer should be able to predict the chance of admit. Example, for the first person, the TOEFL score is 108. What are the 118? The chances of admit is 0.9 to 92% is the chance of this person getting into the university. The second one has a TOEFL score of 107. The chance of this person getting into the university is 76%. So that is what we have to do. We have to predict the output. So in order to do that, the first thing you need is the data set, right? So I'll be giving this data set to you. Don't worry. I'll share it with all of you guys on GitHub for the project also. So this data set, what you can do is you can directly copy the link, go to your notebook. I'm so sorry. And then give it to your code like this. So first of all, we are importing a library called pandas. Anybody, what is a library in Python? What is a library in Python? The first word I said is I'm importing a library called pandas. So what is library? Anyone?
Collection of
It is
readily built-in function that we
Okay.
can use.
Yeah, yes. I guess someone else also was answering. Good, Snehal. I guess Prajakta was answering. Go ahead. Even if it's the same, it's fine.
yes, ma'am. It is the predefined code written by the compiler itself.
Yeah, it's a set of collection of predefined code so that we do not have to write it again and again, because whenever you are doing the same, whenever you are doing tasks, we tend to repeat the instructions. So over here, we are trying to use a library called pandas. Pandas is a library that is used to read your CSV files, wherein CSV stands for comma separated file. Basically, Excel files. When I say comma separated, I hope you see serial number, comma, GRE score, comma, TOEFL score, comma. So in the data, you have all the comma. The columns are separated with comma. So that is what your CSV files look like. So the first thing we are doing is we are trying to import pandas. We brought in a library pandas, and in a variable df using PD. PD was the nickname, okay, I gave to pandas. Even if you don't, it's fine, but then you will have to write pandas, pandas, pandas again and again. So that is why we just shorten it up to PD. PD has a method read CSV that will help you to read the CSV file, and from where to read it. So that is where you will put the link. Read CSV will ask from you, where do I read the CSV file from, right? So this is where you will put in the link of whatever data set you are using. Currently, we are using this. So I have put the link of this one over here. If you see, it's the data set that I'm using. Now, can we just try printing df for a minute? I had commented it. This is called as Python comment. Whenever you put a comment in Python, it will be using this hashtag and computer won't read it. Meaning if I run this block of code, you will get nothing in the output because technically this print statement is hidden from the computer. Comments are just for your purpose. If I just remove the comment and if I run it once again, so df is the variable having all the data. There you go. When I say print df, it has all the things: serial number, GRE score, TOEFL score, uni rating, SOP, everything. What was the problem statement again over here? What was the problem statement? Like, what was to be done? Can somebody tell me? What are we supposed to predict and depending on what? What are we supposed to
Based on
predict
the
here?
TOEFL mark, the student will get admit or not in the
Cool. So
university.
we are interested in two columns. One is this TOEFL score column, only this one. And column, I'm talking about the column, not the row. And the last one is this chance of admit. We are interested in only these two. But yeah, df variable has everything. So that is why in the next step, what we do is we bring these columns out. So we are like df square brackets, meaning you are going inside the variable df. And please make sure these column names are correct. Like over here, it's TOEFL space score with S capital and TOEFL entire thing capital. So I have kept TOEFL entire thing capital and to list. And chances of admit, you are going inside the variable, bringing out this column and to list. Now let's have a look at what does toList do. So I'll just print this variable TOEFL score. Let's run it and see. So toList, it will convert a list. It will convert your entire data in this particular column into a list. You see how a list has been made only for the TOEFL score. So that entire column has been converted into a list of your values, but only that particular column. Same will happen for chance of admit. If you want, you can print that also. Print chances of admit. So let's have a look. So now the second list will also get printed. Have a look. 0.92, 0.76 and all of that. So the first thing was we read the CSV file, we printed it, we saw the variable has all the things. We do not need all the things. So we just segregated two columns, TOEFL score and chances of admit, and printed them. The next thing we are doing is now we need to actually ask the computer to predict an output based on the input. So for that, we use another library called NumPy. NumPy is used for mathematical calculations in Python. So do you guys remember this equation? If anybody of you remembers, I'll just comment it. Y is equal to m multiplied by x plus c. Have you heard of this equation before? Anybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Isn't this called as the slope of, I mean, equation of straight line? Is this,
Yes.
yeah, equation of straight line is what we call it, straight line. Here, let's have a look. Y stands for the output. M stands for the slope of the line. Since it's linear, right, it has to have some slope. X stands for the input and C stands for the y intercept of the line. That is what all the terms over here stand for. So y is the output that the computer will give you. X is the output that you will give the computer. M and C, slope and y intercept, the computer has to like decide automatically. So that is why we have a NumPy library with polyfit as the function. Polyfit is the one that helps the computer to automatically decide the value of M and C depending on what? Depending on your data. This is the input data, right? Polyfit will ask three things from you. What is the input data? You are like this TOEFL score, this variable for which you created the list. And what is the output data? The chances of admit. And what is the degree? Since you want this to be in linear regression, the degree you put is 1. Then what you do, you create an empty list in which you will store all the predicted outputs by the computer. You will run a for loop over this TOEFL score. When you run a for loop over this TOEFL score, what happens is computer is like, okay, if this is the TOEFL score, this is the output. This is the TOEFL score, this is the output. You have some 300 TOEFL scores, right? So you have to predict it for 300 different times. So that is why we are using a for loop so that it works for how many ever values are present in TOEFL score. 300, 400, whatever. For loop makes sure that it works as many times. You gave the equation of y is equal to mx plus c. Whatever final value you got, you appended or put it into the list you have created. List is like a big container in which you can store many values. So let's say you have 300 TOEFL scores. You are supposed to have 300 predictions also, no? So that will be put in your list named Y. Append means putting a value inside your list. So what are we putting the value? The Y value that we got for every single input of ours. If you run this, so over here it will just give a tick since we are not printing anything. So now Y should be giving us the output. X should be your input. MNC has already been decided by the computer. So let's predict. So I gave X as the input being 118. Let's open this TOEFL. So let's take a random TOEFL from here. So second and the third column is my TOEFL score, right? So the third column over here is 110. So when it is 110, the chances of admit technically should be around 0.8. Let's try. So I'll give the input as 110. Y is equal to mx plus c, equation of straight line. If I run the code, the output is supposed to be around 0.8, 0.77. If you round it off, it is around 0.8, right? So it won't be ekdam accurate, but yes, it is kind of closer to it. You want, you can try out with different values. Again, TOEFL is the third column. Let's try out with which value should we try it on? Let's try it with 103. So 103 should give me around 0.6. So 103, and if you run the code, 0.6, 0.64 exactly it came. So it depends. Depending on your input of your TOEFL score, it is giving you an output. So that is how your code for linear regression goes. You read the CSV file, you segregate whatever columns you want. You can print it just to see how it looks. You ask the computer to choose a value of slope and y-intercept depending on your input and the output. And then you run a follow. You're like, for these many inputs, predict these many outputs and store it somewhere. So you stored it in a big container called y. And lastly, you gave the input and gave it the equation y is equal to mx plus c to check the output. So that is how your code for linear regression goes. This is just printing. If you want, no, just print y. That is also fine. If I just run it, so input is 103, output should be 0.64. It's just that we have formatted it. We have set chances of admit of the TOEFL score, a message. X is your input. We put it into curly so that you can get the value of the input is y. Y also in curly so that you can get the value of output. F over here means formatting. You are combining message with values. That is what it means. So guys, is this linear regression code clear? Please let me know if there is anything over here that you have doubts in, because you have this as a part of your homework today. Sort of. Please have a look. If you want, I'll just zoom a little bit out so that the entire screen is visible, and I'll just comment this. So you can now see the entire code almost. So any doubts, guys, in this entire code, please let me know. Anything that is not understood by you guys?
Ma'am,
Mhm.
I understood the code, but how we are supposed to put it on GitHub?
Yeah, I'll just show that to you in a minute. Just when this is done. Is
Okay, ma'am.
all right. Is the code clear to everybody? If you can acknowledge with a yes or no in the chat, or if you are facing issues with the code, which line? Let's be a little bit quicker over there so that we can finally go to okay, clear. So that we can finally go to GitHub and how to upload this. Yes, okay. So I can clear. Okay. So let me just show you on how to upload this on GitHub, because you will have to put it on GitHub for today's activity. So firstly, go to file and you will see an option of download, right? I'll just zoom in a little. Download, but don't download an IPYNB file. Download a .py file. So once you download a .py file, you see linear regression.py is done. So your file is downloaded, but only in your PC. Go to GitHub, your profile, go to your profile. So this is how your profile looks like. You remember we have to create a profile over here. So over here, there's a new option. Go to new. In repository, put in the name, like this was linear regression. Once you have named your repository, just scroll down. You want, you can add a readme file that will just tell you what language you are using. So if you want, you can add that. If you do not want, you can skip that and create a repository. So a repository is a folder. A repository created. Now over here you have an upload an existing file. If you add a README file, you will get that option over here for add file. That's it. That's the only change. Upload an existing file. Click on choose your files. Whatever file you want to download, like we want to upload. So for me, it's this one, the one that I just downloaded. Open it. Once done, at the bottom, click on commit changes, meaning yes, you want to save the changes. You added a new file, you want to save it. That's it. This is done. Then all you have to do is go to the link, copy this link, and then you can just go to Discord and go to the channel and you can paste the link over there the same way I did. So this will give you an access to my linear regression project. Is that clear on how exactly did I upload a code on GitHub and copied the link, guys? Everybody, were the steps clear? Because that is what you have to do for your homework also. And whatever homework you do, even if it's not a .py file, even if it's a .txt, .docs, like you created a Word document, you save it, no? You can upload that over here and keep it. So that will just be as a portfolio for you that you can actually present it to people outside. Is that clear? Everybody is clear with the GitHub thing? Do we have any doubts over there?
Clear, ma'am.
Everyone? Clear? Okay. Because we did in the session, we did linear regression, right? In the homework, I'll be giving you a different code. So that you will have to try and upload it on GitHub next. So a platform you will be using for coding will be Google Colab, language will be Python, and GitHub is where you will submit it. So if we just try to summarize what we did today was we spoke about what is machine learning. We discussed the difference between ML, AI. We discussed about where exactly is ML used in daily life, the data pre-processing, the various algorithms of supervised learning, and we also wrote a code for your supervised learning. So, and that too for linear regression is what we wrote. So before we actually go to having a look at the batch and the this thing, let me first share the feedback form with you guys. So I'm sharing the feedback form, the batch, I'm sharing it on your Discord channel so that you can get it from there directly. Just download the batch. I hope it is accessible. Let me just check. Till then, just go to that feedback form or just open it in a new tab if you want to. Have a look at the question. Okay, cool. The batch is editable, I mean, accessible. So sharing the batch link on Discord. So once everybody is done filling the feedback form, do let me know so that we can proceed to having a look at the homework. You will have two homeworks today, one for the GitHub one and one for writing a report. So once everybody is done with the forms, please do let me know. You can just put it in the chat when it is done. Okay. Are we done filling the form? Yeah, okay. Let's wait for a couple of more yeses so then we can proceed to having a look at the homework for today. Done? Okay, okay. I think most of you are done. So let's just have a look at the project for today. So the project homework 1.0, this is more of creating a report. You can create it in docs or PPT, whichever way you like. Just saying you can upload every single format on your this thing, GitHub. Okay. So in here, what we would like you to do is conduct a real world case study on the application of ML in a business or industry of your choice. You might like food industries, you might like healthcare, finance, or transportations, whichever you like. So like conduct a case study and try to see, okay, in this particular sector, just have a look at one, and have a look at one and create a report that, okay, machine learning is used in this. Conduct a research on the scientific machine learning techniques and different algorithms that are commonly used, like how today we had a look at algorithms like supervised learning, may we had linear, logistics, and decision tree. So have a look, segregate them, which of them are used in your business or whichever industry of your choice you are doing a case study on. Homework 2.0 is, I'll be giving you a data set. I'll show it to you in a minute. So I want you to create a logistic regression model to predict if the student will be accepted in the university or not. So the output should be a yes or no. Do some research on some libraries called NumPy. NumPy has a reshape method, np.reshape, and there is a ravel method also. Do not worry, I'll be sharing the screenshots of the homework in the Discord channel just after the session is over, and this link also. I'll be sharing the link of our data set. Let me just show you the data set before you actually leave. So yeah, there we go. So I'll be sharing a link like this to you. The data set that you require for logistics is core accepted CSV. So I'll be sharing this link. So if you see over here, we have score and accepted. So you only need columns over here, that is score and accepted. So first thing, you will read the file, you will convert it to the to list format you want. You can refer to that linear regression code a little bit. I'll be giving you an image for this code. This code is slightly different than the linear one. This will have something called as np dot reshape, ravel, and all of that. So as a part of homework, if you saw, as a part of homework, what I want, hold on. I think I'm on the wrong screen. Can you guys see the data set? The one that I'm showing, the score and the accepted one now. Sorry, I think I was on the wrong screen. So if you see, you have only two columns, score and accepted. And it should give you an output like yes or no. So if the score is, let's say, 46, will the student be accepted? No. So 0. So the output should be in terms of logistics model, like a yes or no output. That's it. So I'll be sharing this link with you, and I'll be sharing an image of the logistic regression code. All I want you to do is create that code and do a research on libraries called NumPy. What exactly is this NumPy.reshape doing, and Ravel? And whenever you're writing the code, please make sure you follow this instruction of printing. Whatever new things you don't know, print it out to see how exactly is it affecting your current data. All right. So that's it. That would be your two homeworks. I'll be sharing the screenshots for these on the Discord so that you do not forget what all homeworks were there. So apart from that, guys, before we proceed to wrap up, any doubts you have in mind, anything that is unclear from today's session? Attendance, sure. Apart from attendance, anything that is unclear in your mind, guys, that you have doubts or questions with before we proceed to end up for today? Anything? Yes, no, no, yes.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
for reshape and ravel, we need to write like only theory, or ma'am, or else we need to
No,
implement in code.
you will be implementing it code. Don't worry, I'll share a screenshot of the code. But what I want you to do is do a little research also on what exactly is this reshape from NumPy doing and the Ravel doing. Just a little bit of research, and while you are writing the code, no, over there only just comment and mention what exactly do you understand when you reshape the list, the data, and what exactly does the RAVEL Ravel return. So both of them, a little bit of theory and code as well. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Cool. Anything else, guys? Any more doubts we have? Anything? So used to this pin drop silence being no. All right. So I hope we enjoyed today's session on machine learning and an introduction to supervised. When we meet in the next session, we'll further move on with the unsupervised and reinforcement learning. So our next session would be on Friday. Do not worry, we'll be just notifying you. So I hope the session was fun, people. You can just unmute and say a yes or no if it was fun or not fun, or it could have been more interesting. It was a great session. Thank you so much. It means a lot. All right. So thank you so much for being so cooperative. Let's meet soon the next week on Friday. So till then, have a nice weekend ahead. I hope all your exams are going well if you're going through any. And take care of yourself. Have a nice day ahead, guys. Goodbye.